Hello, whoever's watching. Zoe, Brent, or Joshua. How many of you are watching? Well, it's Devin. That you watching, Dev? Might be watching. Oh, it's Brent. Okay. Well, I didn't get to do the training. Um, I thought it was LEO training, but it was actually communication training, dispatch, so to speak. I messaged the guy back saying that I'd be there, and the guy that messaged me went offline. I didn't realize it was communication training. Um, I got on because I told him give me 5 or 10 minutes. I get my Xbox turned on and running. And then I got looking at the message and it was up in the communications tab. And so I didn't get to do the training because the guy sent me the message went offline. So then Austin, the guy that was gonna, or Yuri, the one that was training me earlier. Yeah, I'm back. I didn't get to do the training because the guy left. He got offline. I thought I was going to finish my training from earlier on the LEO side. No, it was supposed to have been for communication dispatch. Since we only have one system, when Devin's playing on LEO side, I can be dispatched or we're both active the same day, same time. And then the next night we switch. That's how we did it in our other server. And, so the head of dispatch messaged me and asked me if that told me that they're ready to my communication training. GTA 5. Um, it's it's kind of like DOJ, but not because you don't have custom cars like they do. You basically use the AI cars that are the AI cops. You call them in and then you use them. But there's a thing we have. It's fun. It's real. It's pretty realistic too. If you can get people to role play right, you basically role play as a cop or a civ or a dispatcher. And in our case, me and Devin do both. Our previous server we was in, the main owner left and gave me and Devin control. So me and Devin were owner and co-owner after he left. And in that server, me and Devin were started out as admins for the server, trainers, and we were LEO, dispatch, and SWAT and Air One. But in this one, they don't have Air One. You got to be a supervisor to do that. They do have SWAT, but we're not high enough rank. We have to literally start down at cadet, which I'm fine with. I'm role playing. I don't care where I start. We can. They say it's easy to rank up. So we'll get up there to supervisor eventually. It's gonna probably take some time. They had a role play last night and they had one tonight, but since we weren't trained yet, we can't join them. I was in the middle of doing my LEO training when we got called to grandma's, so I didn't get it joined tonight either. And then the head of dispatch messaged me on Discord and said, "Hey, he called me out by my code number, which right now is C00, so it's communication 0. Um, he messaged me directly. He didn't directly DM me, but he did in the communication chat. Said at C 00 Aaron, we are ready for your training. And I didn't realize it was in communications, which I should have. So I go in there, get the Xbox turned on, get it up, get online, driving down to the city to get my police car for start training because I use city car being statewide. And then I realized it was communications, which I probably do that right here because I just need the CAD. That's all I need. I don't have to be on the game for it. And then I realized the guy that messaged me was actually offline. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe he had a glitch or lost Wi-Fi or had something come up. I don't know. But and then the ones that were actually doing my LEO training, Devin messaged him, and he said he'll be there in about 10 minutes or so. And then he realized that it's too late for him, his time zone, and that we'll finish up my LEO training tomorrow. So, we was, but being on YouTube, I had to shut it off, or I would have gotten a copyright because the TV is right there, and it would have been shown on the TV. And just even if it muted, we muted it at first, but there's been times I had something muted, but you could still see it. And just by having it on that TV behind me, I would have got copyright from NFL Network and Fox. Last thing about YouTube, if you have a TV near you or any other music or anything playing, and you want to stream on YouTube, you need to mute the TV or stop the music, turn TV off, or you can get a copyright from whatever channel you're watching. When I first started out, I didn't know that. We'd watching something on Disney Channel, and I got a copyright strike from Disney Channel. I've had copyrights from Fox Sports. I had copyright from NBC, ABC, CBS, because I had something a show playing in the background. I didn't know what the deal was. I went and looked at it and figured out what it was. So anytime we stream and TV is visible, like it is there, we shut the TV off so it don't get copyright by those channels or that program. So that's the thing about YouTube. If you have music playing on the radio, you need to shut it off or turn it down, or you can get copyright from that radio station too. That's why when we record videos on our YouTube, driving somewhere, we don't have radio on in the car. Until we get our CD player fixed in the car. There's a band known as the Golds. They go to our church. They play in Branson all the time. They go to our church, and we do have their permission to play any of their CDs if we're recording YouTube. The reason we don't get copyright for streaming our church or recording our church, we have permission from the pastor to record anything on our YouTube channel or our Twitch. That's why we don't get copyrights from those. 34-17. Nice. Ravens are winning. Awesome. I'm rooting for the Ravens because we've actually been by their field. So we've been to Baltimore. We've been by their field. Our hotel we stayed at was 4 miles south of the field, I think it was. It was close to the field. We could see the field from our hotel room. That was in 2011. And the only way I remember that year is because that same year Joplin get hit with a tornado. And we actually had shirts that said Joplin Relief. Support Joplin Relief. Hashtag pray for Joplin. Joplin Strong. It had all kinds of sayings on the front and the back of it. It had City of Joplin. And it had the year of the tornado. and at the time that the tornado hit Joplin. So we wore those shirts up to Baltimore. And a lot of people asked us where we get the shirts, and we said, well, we live near Joplin, Missouri. The tornado that just town that just had a tornado hit a few months back. I think we went in June or July, and tornado hit in May. So we had a lot of people ask about our shirts. I mean, a lot of people heard about it on national news because it is right now recorded as the biggest and deadliest tornado in history. They rated it an EF6 on the enhanced Fujita scale. Um, the tornado scales rate from 0 to 5 on the Fujita scale, or the Fujita scale. And then you have the enhanced Fujita scale when they add an E in front of the F. You have F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. Well, back in, I think, like 2007, they started putting an E in front of the letter F, so it's now EF 0, 1 through 5. However, after surveying the damage that Joplin got, counting up the number of injuries and deaths and the damage, they rated it an EF6. So EF6 is the biggest tornado you can ever have now. And that's what made it a world record deadliest tornado to ever hit the U.S., period. Nothing's ever been bigger than that since. The El Reno, Oklahoma tornado was an EF3. They rated it an EF4 at first because of the sheer size of it. And then when they went back and looked at footage and damage and did their investigation, they dropped it to an EF3. There's been EF4 tornadoes out there. There have been EF5s even. But there has never, ever been an EF6 until Joplin hit. And that's the biggest tornado scale you have now. And it is a world record holder. It was a 2.5 miles wide. It moves through about 40 miles an hour, 40 to 45 miles an hour. The wind gust got up to just under 200 miles an hour with the highest wind gust recorded. It killed 161 people. 161. I heard it back on a documentary just last night. 161 people dead, injured over 1,000. It was a 7-mile track tornado right down through the heart of downtown Joplin. If it was literally, if it was half a mile wider to the south, or even if it moved to the south by half a mile, it would have took out both of our major hospitals. I try not to talk about it, but it's something that has changed Joplin. But it really changed me because 2 days before this hit on the 22nd of May, 20th of May, I was in St. John's Hospital, which is now called Mercy, but it was St. John's at the time. 2 days prior, I had literally just got out of that hospital. And 2 days before I got out, they knew that type of weather season was coming. They practiced what they call Code Gray, which is a tornado warning code. And they basically, if you couldn't get out of your or if you could get out of your room, you would go downstairs to the shelter area. But if you couldn't get out of your room because you were isolation room, like I was, they basically put you in your hallway, had your door shut, away from windows. Doctors actually wanted to keep me in 2 more days. And I said, I've been in here 2 weeks already. I'm ready to go home. Thank goodness I did because I watched a documentary on it yesterday or the day before. Found out 65 lives were lost at the hospital alone. 65. And a third of those were patients on ventilators. Um, the power went out, then the backup generators came on, and then those went out. And with both the main and backup generators and power systems out, their ventilators stopped and they perished from not having a ventilator keeping them alive. Just a third of the victims on why they were killed. But in the hospital alone, 165 people were killed. Nope, I just heard it the other day on a new documentary recently released. Yes, and they did. They did. That's what they thought at first, and then they went back and threw rubble and stuff and recounted. Um, first initial reports were nobody was killed at the hospital, and then they went back and looked at um, evidence and damage structure and did an investigation and come to find out 65 were killed at the hospital alone. However, the Joplin High School was having their graduation that day. The Joplin High School and middle school were both destroyed, flattened. But they did not have their graduation at the school. They had it at our local college at Missouri Southern in the uh, performance building, the Legan and Platt Center performance building, where they do concerts and stuff. Because they were big enough to do a graduation. So, and it got over right after graduation. It got over, their graduation ceremony got over 10 minutes before the tornado hit. So, but there's still there's some stories of some of the graduates that um, they did perish in that tornado driving back home. There's a story of a younger 20-year-old or 18-year-old just graduated from the school, was at their graduation. He was driving home in his Hummer, and he got sucked out the rooftop, right out the roof window, the sunroof window, and he was thrown by the winds about 300 yards from where his car got picked up. He was ejected out of the car. His car got picked up, and he was sucked right out of the car. And his car went one way, and he went another way, and he was found a good 300 yards from his car. Um, there's a lot of other terrible stories, but there's also some interesting, not possible stories, you could say. There's stories of the safety workers and disaster response teams going in and looking for victims and finding a dinner table. Because this hit about 5 o'clock. Most families were sitting down for dinner. And it was a Sunday. And there's stories of a house rescuers went into and found a dinner table completely set, plates on the table, wine glasses on the table, everything but the food and the tablecloth, and none of it was broke. None of the glasses or plates were broke, but the rest of the house had gone. Um, there are stories of a house that had only one wall standing. All the walls around it are gone except for the one wall, and the one wall had a 50-inch flat screen TV, not even busted, and still actually turned on. There are stories of an entire house gone except for a baby's room, with the crib intact, not messed up at all. Um, Looked brand new actually, but everything around it, the walls and everything, gone. The toys in that room gone, and there's stories of one um I'm a believer. I'm a believer in God, and there's a story that I heard that with if I wasn't a believer of God, I would not even believe this. There's a lady in her house, 30 minutes before this hit. She heard a voice saying, "You need to leave your house right now. Get out. There's gonna be something bad happening. You need to get out. Get away from your house." And she ignored it at first, and she heard it 2 or 3 more times. She said, "Okay, third time I've heard this voice saying, 'Get out of the house. Something bad is coming. I'm better just listen.'" She got in her car, packed up what she could get out of the house, got in her car, and drove to Neosho, 25-30 minute drive away from Joplin. And as soon as she reached Neosho city limits, the tornado hit her house. Again, if I wasn't a believer in God, I would not even believe that story at all. To me, that's God saying that it's not her time to go, and I'm getting you to a safe place because I know something's happening, and I don't want you to be caught up in this storm. So I'm giving you the sign and the chance to get out now, or you're going to end up regretting what's about to happen. So, with that, I was amazed by that story. I really was. There are stories of a firefighter going around knocking on doors while the storm is still coming. He was off duty, heading back home from shift. He had his radio in his truck. He heard about the storm going over the radio, and he started going and knocking on doors in the neighborhood, just telling everybody get shelter. There's a tornado coming, and it's big and it's massive. It's a deadly storm. Get shelter. Going around this neighborhood, pounding on doors, telling everybody take cover, get in your cellars, get in your basements, get in your safe rooms, get in your safe area. Wherever your family goes for a tornado, get there now. And he was literally fixing to pound on a door, and the tornado was right behind that house, and it took him, and it took the house. And I believe it. I strongly believe it probably took that family too because they had no warning. Tornadoes. There were tornado signs around Joplin everywhere, but most of those are just outside the city limit where the tornado had already been. Plus, it was taking out power lines left and right, so it was also cutting power to those sirens. And so with that, there really was no warning, really. So yeah, with that, the sirens and everything being taken out by a tornado itself on the west side of town. There's really no warning. Um, our church, we weren't we weren't going to the church at this time, but at the time, but we were. Our pastors told the story several times. Um, they were in Sunday night service, 5 o'clock service, and the main doors to the church. We didn't have this pavilion that we do now either, but the main doors opened up, and they open up outward. Well, on this particular day, these doors opened up inward and busted off the hinges. And the pastor knew something was wrong, and he got everybody downstairs quick as possible. They stopped service, and they got them downstairs quick as possible. Some of them are rescue, and they were getting a call to get ready to get toned out because it was coming. Half the people, including our preacher, are Newton County Rescue. So they actually helped in the cleanup and recovery. One reason a lot of people died because Joplin used to be a coal mining town way back in the 60s and 70s. 50s, 60s, 70s. It was a coal mining town. And there's a lot of asbestos stuff underneath the ground of these coal mines, where these coal mines and oil fields and stuff used to be back in the 60s, 70s, even back into the late 30s and 40s. Anyway, when the tornado went through, it tore up the ground to literally nothing but dirt. Tore houses off their foundation completely. And with it tearing up the ground like that and digging in so deep into the ground, because it's such a powerful twister, it released all the asbestos into the air. And then you have people buried under the rubble with probably and then the rain and everything. Their insulation was getting wet. The wood boards and structures and house structure and 2x4s and bracings and everything you used to build a house, that was all getting wet. So you were getting mold on that. But then you had all the asbestos from the ground, all the limestone and aggregate and stuff from bricks and concrete and all that. And then you're laying under all this because you're buried under it. I think they did rescue for like 3 months. And after about a month and a half of doing rescue, they knew there was a lot of them they probably could not get to quick because it was just such a massive area. It took almost 5 months to a year to get to every house. It was so wide and so massive of a destruction area. So by the second or third month of cleanup and rescue, it became a just recovery, not rescue, but just recovery of bodies. Our dad was on the fire department for Carterville, a little town north of Joplin, and they were toned out to help in recovery. Webb City was turned out to help in recovery. Carthage, Nevada, Monette. We had fire departments coming from Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. We had fire departments coming from all over, and then we had volunteers coming from all over the country to help with cleanup and recovery. There's people that came up from Florida and Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Carolinas, Dakotas, Montana, New Jersey, Maine even. There's reports of people coming all the way down from Maine to kind of help out our community. my cousin, um, Steven, he was volunteer fire for Oklahoma, Wyandotte, which is right over here, about 4 miles west. He was down in Arkansas doing something, and he wasn't on duty, but when he heard about it, he had sirens in his pickup because volunteer fire. He drove all the way from Arkansas up to Joplin, going about 120 miles an hour on the road with lights and sirens to get up to Joplin and help with the recovery. Then we had when it's time for we had truck drivers from multiple companies, multiple trucking companies, including Connolly, which my dad drives for, our stepdad drives for now, and Ozark, and a couple of companies out of Arkansas, a couple out of Nebraska, Kansas, and there's a few others. A lot of trucking companies started packing up water and essentials for our rescue teams and hauling a lot of stuff up here on their own time. They were not, they were off from their original loading stuff, but they took the time away from being on their off time to help it out and go pick up loads from wherever they can get water and food and gloves and shovels and all kinds of things. Anything that the community needed, people were loading them up in semis and bringing them. We were in school going to Crowder College for a technical program through our school, through the high school. We were in the building trades course to learn construction. Well, a few days when they started doing actual cleanup, when it became recovery and stuff, they just needed shovels and hammers and saws and buckets and whatever else they needed tool wise. We started taking stuff from our school. We walk in one day and our teacher, Mr. Bond, goes, "We're not going to do anything today, but load up. We're not going to work on it." We're building a log cabin for about 2 years. And we walk in one day and he goes, "We're not going to work on the cabin today. We're just going to load up shovels and saws and hammers and whatever we need. And I'm going to be taking them up to Joplin after school today." So we started grabbing everything we could: wrenches, axes, saws, uh, jerry cans for waters and stuff, put waters in them, shovels, pickaxes, sledgehammers, whatever they needed. We started loading it up from our school right there. I believe our high school shop teacher did the same thing. I'm not sure, but I know there's a lot of school that did with like a shop class or a building trades class. I know a lot of. I know there's a Crowder in Neosho. There's one in Carthage. There's one in Nevada and Mount Vernon. I think all of them pitched in as well. And then a few weeks after the tornado hit, me and Devin went and did some volunteer work at a daycare. And we kind of helped pick up some stuff there at a daycare. And then we went to another place and helped out a little bit too. Because we wanted to help a little bit. And so Mom drove us up and we helped out with some too. What we could. We had work gloves and boots and jeans and long socks. So we helped out, did what we could at the 2 daycares we stopped at. Oh. Our mom and grandma were working Salvation Army and Red Cross at the time, and they were mom was working the uh, she's kind of helping everybody find their family, their loved ones, and everything. Okay, and this like families will walk in and try to help them find the morgue where they had the morgue. They moved it like 4 times. At one point, it was at the Lake and the Platte Center where the graduation was, and then it was moved to the football field at the college, and then it was moved across town. Then it was moved to a church parking lot, and she had this one family couple come in, and they're needing to find their daughter, 8 years old. And they kept saying, "We need to find our daughter." Mom said, "Okay, I need her name so I can see if she's on this list and kind of point you in her direction." The mom kept arguing a little bit, just kept saying, "I need to find my daughter, I need to find my daughter." And mom said, "I understand you need to find your daughter. I need her name so I can look on this list so I can see where she possibly at." And um, the argument went on for a few minutes, and the husband finally said, "Look, you don't understand. We're here to identify her body. We need to find out where the morgue is. We've already been told she didn't make it. We need to identify her positively." And so mom said, "Okay, let me find out where the morgue is right now at this time because it's been moved 4 times already this morning." And she found out where it was. It was clear across town, way on the east side of town. And it was raining that day. They had walked 3 miles to get to where mom was, and she's not supposed to drive anybody anywhere. But it was just about time for her shift to end and come home anyway. So she said, "Okay, I'm not supposed to drive anybody anywhere. I was told not to, but I'm about to end my shift here. Some of the ladies going to take over. It's time for me to go and head back home because I have kids to take care of, and I got to get them their dinner and everything ready because they got school. And give me a minute. Let me clock off, find out where it's at, and I will drive you myself since it's raining." And so mom did that, and she took him over where they had just moved the morgue to. And they said, "Thank you. Sorry for going at you like we did. It's hard for us to explain it the way we needed to." And mom goes, "No, that's fine. I'm sorry for your loss. And since I think it was me that wasn't understanding you the way you were trying to ask me, and for that reason, that's why I gave you guys a ride over here." But uh, there are a couple other stories too. Actually, mom used to work at Aegis Communication, and she actually had a family, a good friend, um, end up in that and passed away a few weeks later. Um, Luckily, she didn't perish right away. Um, I don't want to sound too gruesome, but she's a little overweight. She has some weight to her, and in a way, it's a good thing she did because she had a 2x4 impale her, and if it wasn't for her weight, she would have been dead instantly. It with her having all that fat and weight, it actually missed her vital organs. So she got lucky there, but she passed away a few days later because of infection from the board, because of rusty nails and dirt and soot and everything on it, mud, grass. It was a dirty board, so she ended up passing away a few days later from um, infection. But she lived long enough to tell her story, so it was a good friend of mom's. Um, so, Joshua or Bree, that you still watching? I still show one person watching. Let me know who's still watching there. And if you're listening to the story, let me know what you thought of that. And do you remember the 2011 tornado? 'Cause I'll never forget that. A lot of us around here will never forget it. I actually saw it hitting. I saw it hit Joplin on our local news. Um, we were at grandma's and mom told us to come over and get a shower before dinner. And it was storming a little bit here, but it was nothing compared to what it was up there. Um, that we found out later, anyway. And I'll watch our local 5 o'clock news, and they were literally showing the um, our weather person Stacy Garvell was on doing a weather forecast, and she was showing the tower cam what it looked like outside. And I'm standing here right here watching it, and we didn't have this TV; it was a different TV at the time. But I was standing right here behind me watching it. Devin was one in the shower, and I see this. She saw it, and then I saw it, or I saw it first, probably. But she's showing outside. It was raining. She was giving an update on the storms, and then we see this gray, ominous black shape literally go from left to right across the screen, and it moves slow. And it was rainier up, so it's kind of hard to see, but you can make it out. And she's usually calm, but she kind of lost it on television that night. Um, she got looking and she goes, um, if you are in the Joplin area, South Joplin, you need to take cover right now, because I believe I am seeing a tornado on this tower cam. And they zoomed out a little bit, and sure enough, you could see the structure of it wrapped in the rain. And she goes, "Oh my God, yes, that is a massive tornado in South Joplin. Get cover right now." And then they started hearing the hail hitting the station, and they had to go take cover themselves. And they said, we actually got hail hitting our station. We can hear it on the roof. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. If you're in South Joplin, get cover now. We are actually taking cover ourselves." And I watched it go. They kept the camera up, and I watched it go across the screen. And later on, we found out why it did so much damage, and One, it was a slow moving tornado, only about 30 miles an hour is what it was moving at. But not only was it slow, they have three smaller vortex tornadoes inside the one big tornado. So you had the three uh, vortex tornadoes wrapped around the one big tornado. And it was all wrapped in rain, so it was hard to see. Spotters had a hard time seeing it. Because I actually seen a video from a spotter about it on a documentary. They actually showed it on um what was it? Storm Chasers? No, not Storm Chasers. Well, uh, Storm Disasters. A show called Storm Stories. There's still a show on Discovery Channel, I think it is. No, Weather Channel, called Storm Stories. They actually showed the story of the Joplin tornado. You actually probably go find it on YouTube. Um, I've seen it on YouTube a few times. You can see how big it was and the damage to it. And I used to watch this show called American Trucker. It's with the guy Rob Moriarty. Um, he gets with different trucking companies and kind of goes along for a ride all day long with them. And that's how I found out about the trucking companies helping out because that day he got with a company. I can't remember what the company name was now, but he rode with the guy all the way from down in Little Rock, Arkansas, all the way up to Joplin to deliver water and medical supplies, toiletry stuff, um, toilet paper, paper towels, water, paper plates, paper cups, paper bowls, and just stuff for the volunteers, really. That's how I found out about the trucking companies helping out. Because they showed at one point he got there with the truck driver he was riding with, and it showed all kinds of different trucks sitting, waiting to be unloaded. But I'm sure you could go on YouTube and look up storm stories and type in the Joplin 2011 tornado, or you can just find that document. Type in Joplin 2011 tornado, and you come across a documentary about it too. Uh, it once in a while I watch it just to kind of refresh about it, but it's hard for me to watch being in the area, and with me almost being in it, uh, it's hard for me to talk and watch about it. But I was watching a YouTube channel last night about the El Reno, Oklahoma tornado. 2006, had a tornado hit not far from here. It was up at up a little ways just outside town. Um, right where our dog sitter used to be, or our dog groomer. We had come home from summer school that day, and we were living at grandma's because we were fixing up our house, putting these walls and the floor in. So we was living at grandma's for a little while. Or we was over there one day after summer school, and because only grandma was home, she didn't work at the time. Mom and grandpa both worked, and I think grandpa worked just started working at Tracker, both in Miami, Oklahoma. Mom was working the McDonald's up by 44 Highway, or closest McDonald's to us besides Neosho. And me and Devin look outside. We was back there drawing. We look outside and the sky looked this ominous green, almost a lime green, bright. And we told Grandma about it, and she goes, "Yeah," and she said, "I've never seen the sky like that." I goes, "Yeah, I never have either. That's kind of weird." But we thought maybe it was just the way the sun was because it's kind of starting to go down a little bit. Well, I go back in, turn the radio on, and listen to music, and I hear a weather report come on, and saying that there's a tornado warning in Newton County. Well, that's our county. And then they said the location. Hey, Cole Joe just got back to me. Who? Oh, okay. Are you guys around? We have an FTO available as of 10:07. Okay. It's 10:36 now, so that's like 20 minutes ago. Yeah. Anyway, they told us it was on 43 and Irish Road. So I went in and asked Grandma where that was. I went in and said, "Hey, Grandma, where's Iris in 43? She goes, "You know where, I'm just going to say dog groomer, but I know her, I'm not going to say her name on here." She goes, "You know where a dog groomer lives?" "Yeah, that's Irish Road." I said, okay. She goes, "Why?" "Just turn the radio, tornado just went through there." She goes, "What?" She goes, "That's why that sky was green." So a green sky means there's a tornadic storm nearby, close. So yeah, she kind of lost it when I told her where it was located. She goes, "Are you sure? Because it's not even raining here." I said, "Yeah, I just heard it on the radio in there. We're in their drawing. We're listening to the radio. I just heard them saying tornado located on the ground, Iris in 43." She goes, "Oh crap." She didn't say crap though. She said something else. And she tried to call our dog groomer and nobody answered. Well, that was about 5 o'clock. Mom was supposed to be heading home, and she was actually working ages at the time. And we called her afterwards. What? She said, "I'm just coming up to Pedro." "Why?" We told her, "Get there, stay there." She goes, "Okay, it's raining up here." "Yeah, tornado at Iris in 43. She goes, "Okay." She had literally just passed the McDonald's. She said, "All right, I'm turning around. I'm going back to the McDonald's." And a lot of people say those big tornadoes sound like a train coming. A lot of people that work at McDonald's that day said it sounded like a train. They could hear it from the McDonald's, and it's a good 25 miles away. Or it's a good 15 miles, about 15 miles from Irish Road. And it's like a 15, 20-minute drive from Irish to the McDonald's. And a lot of people said they was hearing a train. It sounded like a train coming. And Mom pulled in there, and she was hearing it too as soon as she got out of her car. And she walked in, and they didn't know exactly how far it was, because usually when you hear the train sound, it's on top of you or coming towards you. So as soon as Mom got in there, they all took shelter down in their storage area, which was underground. Everybody in the McDonald's took shelter down there with the employees. And Mom told them where it was because we had told her where it was. They said, okay, we know that's a tornado. Sirens are going off. We just don't know exact location, so we need to take cover. And then Mom says, oh, I know exactly where it's at. My son just told me. Or my mom just told me. And they asked where it was. They said it's at Irish Road in 43. About 10 minutes up the road. South of here. I said, yeah, that's still too close for comfort. Because you never know when they shift. They can always... You always hear tornadoes going east to west or west to east. You hardly ever hear them go north and south. But they can always shift. You never know. So being that close to them, they all took cover. And 2 days later, we were going to Joplin and we saw the damage, and it was bad. Our dog groomer's house was gone, completely gone. And she made it out okay. She was alive. But 5 minutes before it hit, she had a customer. And they hunkered down right there in the house, away from a window, and it literally took her house. I took houses across the street. A couple good friends of us down further east on Iris. Had a good friend we'd known since elementary. Mom's known him. Grandma tutored her. Her first name is Ryan. It's a girl though. Both her mom and dad perished in that tornado. And then when we was in middle school, we had one literally down the street from our house. About 2 houses down. We have our neighbor right next door, and then we have another house, and then just past the bridge, there's a third house. And just a little further down, there's another big valley where 2 hills come together. There's a tornado that went through there in 2005. Or 2009. 9 or 10. It was a sunny day, which was strange. We were in our 5th hour class just after lunch. And the classroom I was in, tornado sirens for the town was right outside that window. We had the window open. And that tornado siren started going off. We're like, okay, they're just testing them. Because again, it's April, May, tornado season. Tornado alley, you're going to test them. Sunny as could be, no clouds. Tornado siren goes off. We're like, oh, they're just testing them. Keep working. They come over the intercom, said this is not a tornado test. There is a tornado south of town. That's all they knew, south of town at the time. Get everybody to the basement or the nearest tornado shelter. So everybody starts running. And we were upstairs, so we had to go down 2 flights of stairs and then go to the basement. So I take off running. A lot of kids are running. Devin didn't run because during the drill, they tell you stay with your teacher, stay in line, stay together. Well, Devin wasn't taking off running. He was in the classroom across the hall from me. Because you were in Miss Levens, weren't you? I was in Flug across the hall. And he was staying with Miss Levens, his teacher. And she said, during an actual emergency, go. Just run. Get to the basement. Don't wait for me. Because all the teachers have to grab their plan books and make sure everybody's accounted for. So my teacher, Miss Flug, is grabbing hers and out the door behind me. So we're all running down. We get down to the basement, and they were actually teaching Spanish speech and debate downstairs because that's where that class is. And they were in the middle of teaching, so they were safe down there in the basement. Cause there's a class actually down there. And then everybody else started coming in there, so they had to move desks, and it was a tight packed area. I'd say there were probably 500 kids down there or more. Pretty much everybody upstairs and that half of the building. On that side of the building, we're all down in that basement. Everybody that was near the gym packed into the girls' or boys' locker room. And then the ones that were out in the trailers, because we had trailers outside, they all got into the east or the east hallway and got up against the wall with their heads down. That was the drills. If you're on the east end, you just get in a hallway away from windows, get your heads down against the wall, like you were taught in elementary. If you're on the west end, you get down to the basement as quick as possible. And we get down there. I have that teacher pull up the weather map and try to see if they could figure out where it was coming from. Well, I knew a radar site. I knew a site that had a radar. And Grandma was at work. Mom was at work. Grandpa was at work. Nobody home. I started to stay home that day because I wasn't feeling good, but Mom made me go to school. Thank goodness I didn't. Because I probably would have been scared shitless. I would have had to run to Grandma's, but I probably wouldn't even had time because I wouldn't hear no siren because don't hear the sirens here. I'm out in the country. I don't have no sirens around here. I didn't have a phone that has an alert like I do now. So I would have just thought it was a strong wind. And I don't know what I would have done because I've been home by myself with just me and our cat and our dogs at the time. But so I had the teacher pull up the news channel page and go look at interactive maps and try to see where he could pinpoint it or see if there's information on where it was located. As soon as we found out where it was located, I got scared. Grandma got scared because they heard about it at work. And actually, I think Grandma was working in high school too. So they probably had to take cover too. And when they found out where it was located, we both got scared. Grandma got worried about the dogs. And because it said a mile from Highway 60, which would be our house. But it's actually half a mile from 60, not 1 mile. But if it was half a mile more this way, it would have took our house. And it would have took Grandma's house. But only thing it did was our TV antenna, it was straight up, and it took the antenna and just bent it like this, completely over. Our old storm cellar out behind Grandpa's shed had a cover, and they took that and threw it out in the middle of the back field. And then the skirting on our house, we were in a trailer, it completely ripped the skirting off the house. The neighbor's house, I had a neighbor at the time, they had a small shed out back, a wooden shed. It literally picked that shed up, moved it over, and dropped it flat. The roof collapsed in on itself. And then good friend of ours down the street, they took their shed down too, and some trees in their backyard. And the right in the path of it, there's a house, and really the only damage it did to that was their carport. It tore shingles off the carport. They said it was only a little F1, so it's a little skinny one. But if it was a EF3 or EF4, it would took our neighbor's house out, our house out, grandma's house out. It would have completely took them out. Probably, probably our grandma's neighbor probably got damaged too, and they did get a little wind damage, but um, it tore up the roof of our barn too. But it was a small one compared to others we've had in the area. We've had a couple close calls last year and this year. Um, 2 years ago and last year. 2 years ago we had one come around midnight actually. It came real close. It was like 3 miles down the road, south of us here, and we were stuck in our basement for an hour and a half. Not a basement. It was actually the day it happened. We literally just got the tornado shelter. We didn't have no railing on it, and we heard that there's gonna be storms that night, possibly tornadic storms. So, it was off my grandma's back porch. We built a staircase because you go out grandma's back door and you go down the staircase. You go to the garage. Well, we took some railing and supports out of the side and built our staircase right down to the cellar. Put some bricks there and put a railing so grandma can get downstairs easier. Well, that night we ended up with a tornado warning and we had to use it. We stuck down in the tornado shelter for an hour and a half. And to find out it was like 3 miles down the road. But it's still close. Still real close. Just last year, we had another one come close where we had to go get down in the cellar. Not long ago, in September or October. It seemed like it was a month ago. Yeah, a month ago. A month ago, we had storms pop up out of nowhere. Um, Ended up having to go in the cellar, but we didn't. Devin did. Mom, grandma, me, and our stepdad. We were all watching TV, and storm was going. It was getting pretty nasty and strong winds, 65-mile-an-hour wind gusts outside. And finally, I get an alert on my phone saying that tornado warning Newton County. And it was hailing too. There was nickel-sized hail. So everybody stayed in the house but Devin. He went down to the cellar himself. But then we find out that one was about 2 miles north of us. It just missed the town of Seneca, just barely. It kind of went in a northeastern direction. It came from Miami and went northeast toward Neosho. Nothing ever dropped. It was never confirmed on the ground, but it was radar indicated rotation. It was dark, so it was probably hard for spotters to see. But it finally did touch the ground once it got into Goodman, Missouri, which is east of Neosho. It finally did touch the ground. And there's some damage done out that way. But so we've had a few close calls since we put this shelter in. Yeah, as soon as we got back home, we had missed calls from several people because we had no Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi was shut off and stuff. Devin left his phone here. I had mine with me. His girlfriend tried to call. Our father tried to call us, make sure we were okay. I had messages on Messenger from my ex-girlfriend. And yeah, about 3 hours later, we had another one, so we had to run back over there. And that one never completely formed either. So yeah, we've had a few close tornado calls. One I'll never forget. We almost got caught in one a few years ago. Um, it was when our stepbrother, we were still babysitting our stepbrother when he was still in school, and we would take turns going over and spend the night. Make sure you go on the bus in the morning, and we knew there were going to be nasty storms. So it was Devin's night, but his dad, Donnie, told me that I could go over too because of the storms. We literally just leaving and we get an alert on our phone and on the radio that there's a tornado in Seneca on the ground just east of the town of Seneca or west of Seneca going right through downtown. Well, we literally just turned and we got down to a house and this guy worked for Alice Gas Company, our gas company for propane tank, which we don't have anymore. But we were driving down the road and we started seeing tree limbs and leaves swirling around us, around the car. Car was getting shifted around the road because of strong winds, about 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And we finally pulled into his house, went pounded on his door, and we said, "Hey, we're on our way to babysit our stepbrother. We just heard on the radio that there is a tornado in Seneca on the ground moving this way. Can we get shelter in your house?" So yeah, I don't have an actual shelter, but yeah, we can go into the bathroom and take over. There's no window in there. I was still dating my girlfriend at the time, and started getting messages from her immediately because they heard about it on the radio too, and it was on the news. Grandma called us and asked if we were okay. Donnie called us if we were okay because he knew we was driving over to his house, and Grandma knew we had just left the house too. It was nice and sunny too. A little bit of rain, but it didn't look nasty out. Usually, tornadic storms, you have dark, heavy black clouds. Did not have this. It just spawned out of nowhere, really. The clouds were a little gray, a little bit of sun here and there. It was raining, but didn't have no hail. Didn't have dark black clouds. So, but we went into the guy's house, took shelter in his house, and we look out his big sliding door window, and we just see the grass. He had some tall grass out back, and it was just whipping. Literally, trees were blowing everywhere. It broke his flower pots, tore some limbs off, and threw them against. Completely uprooted a big, massive tree in his yard. I'd say the tree trunk was like probably this big or bigger. It was a pretty good sized tree though. Completely uprooted it out of the ground. Threw some sticks and branches against our car and his truck, his propane truck. Broke flower pots, tore his swing apart. There were sticks and limbs and branches all over the road. Well, we finally got down to our stepdad's house, and he's still a stepdad, even though we didn't live with him anymore. But finally got down to Donnie's house, and Yeah, we surveyed some damage and we saw it, and got a picture of it. It was just north of the house. We actually saw it go up into the clouds. It lifted off the ground. But so yeah, we've had quite a few close calls. Um, I think that was our closest one because we was actually in the rain and in the wind of it. So, well, for you, I've been in another close call coming home from Kansas City. But so yeah, those were pretty close calls. I've been in another one coming home from Kansas City by myself. I've dropped you off one time. And never actually spotted one. Well, except for that one, but it never actually hit our house yet. That could always change, but I think we're kind of safe because where we're at. We're in a valley, so they've always said if you're kind of down in a valley, then you're pretty safe from them. Most likely you're gonna get out of them are the wind and the downforce winds. Um, but we look at but yeah, if you look at our place on the map, it don't look like a valley, but it is because we got a big hill to our right and a big hill to our left. So, um, but then again, that one house that did get hit when we was in middle school, it is literally in a valley. It's between two hills. As soon as you cross, at the time you had to cross, now it's a roundabout. As soon as you cross Highway 6, you go down a hill, and then there's a big uphill. Right there in that gap, there is a house right there that was hit. And so, you never know. I still have one person watching, but have not chimed in yet. Let me know who you are watching, please. I'd like to know who's watching this. Because you've been sticking around pretty much the whole time. I know it's not Devin because he's not on. So, is it still you, Brent, or Joshua? It might be Brandon. Good question. I don't know. That's on yours. It could be Gail. I don't think that's mine. If you don't, if you're somebody that don't like to chat, I understand, but I still like to know who's actually watching, though. Though I know it's somebody watching and it's not a glitch on my end. Hey, Brent, if it is you, um, let me know what the final score in that game was. I'm sure it's over with now. Or it might be Zoe. I know she says she's studying. I had a scratch on the side of my face. I think from Marvel. Scratched me earlier. Yeah, I do. Hmm. whoever's whoever's watching the put in the comments if you've had any close tornado calls or anything like that, or if you don't want to put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Um, Anybody that sees this after it's uploaded, go and let me know if you have any down in the comments as well. Because oh yeah, I always thought tornadoes happened here in Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. Because we're technically known as Tornado Alley. That's where most of them do happen every year. But there are those rare cases where they've happened in Connecticut, Montana, Wyoming, Pennsylvania, Carol- Carolinas, Colorado, Dakota, the North and South Dakota. They can have pretty much anywhere. Louisiana, Florida, Arizona, New Mexico. They can happen in any state, including New York. They can happen in New York too, out in the suburban areas. Michigan, Idaho, and Iowa, Nebraska. They can really happen in any state. It's just got to be the right combination of weather pattern for them to happen. And here in the Midwest, we really do have the correct pattern for them every year. We have the cool air from the north and the warm air from down south. And then you have a high pressure system that wraps in on the backside, and that's what fires these storms up. And then you get the warm and cold low, the cold pressure up in the atmosphere and the warm pressure down low, um, rising up out of the ground. And then when you get the high and low pressures wrapping into each other, it starts rotating storm known as a supercell. And then you have the downdraft from up in the atmosphere, rising with the cool air. And then that starts a rotation, and then you get the humidity wrapped into that, and that causes a funnel cloud. And then that funnel cloud tightens up, and it drops to the ground, and you have a tornado. So we we really, if you can look at it as a recipe, we have all the correct ingredients for tornadoes every year. But if you have the right ingredients, so to speak, in any state, you can get them. Really, any country, actually. Uh, there's been reports of them across in Africa and stuff too. So, really, anywhere in the world could get them, except for Egypt and Iraq and Iran, Bulgaria, Nigeria. Those are countries that are too hot for them. And then you have up north, Alaska and um, what, then you have some states that are too cold for them. So you got to have the right temperature and weather pattern to form them. And right here in the Midwest, we get them all the time. Kind of used to it. In reality, I've always kind of wanted to be a storm spotter. but you're out there for hours and hours at night, chasing storms. Um, a lot of, it looks fun to do. It it's something you can do to save lives in the long run, but it's also a dangerous um, hobby. Uh, if you don't know what you're doing, you can get yourself killed. Even trained storm spotters have been in uh, storm spotting for years get themselves in trouble once in a while. Earlier, I was talking about the El Reno, Oklahoma, and more Oklahoma tornadoes back in 2013. Four veteran spotters were killed chasing that storm. They were killed in El Reno, Oklahoma, just after 6:23 p.m. Um, they're veteran storm spotters of over 20 years. And one call put them in the wrong position, and they were directly hit by a tornado and killed them. So it's a very dangerous job, but it 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 can be fun too. It can be a life saving job. It can be a fun job to chase them, but it can also be a dangerous job, just like any job. A lot of people think being a police officer or firefighter is awesome. You get to run the sirens. You get to have a radio that you get to run into buildings, save lives, but it's also a dangerous job. Um, as like bull riding, um, race car driving, anything you do is dangerous. Um, you get adrenaline from riding a bull, but you can also get hurt or even killed riding them. Um, Same thing with driving a race car. You get adrenaline from driving them. It's fun to drive them. It's fun to go out there and get checker flag wins and money. But one wrong move and one wrong safety feature can get you killed in that car. But it's something people like to do, and they do it for a living. They love doing it, but they know there's risk to it. Any racing, dirt bikes, dirt cars, NASCAR, um, 24-hour Le Mans, motorcycle racing, Indy cars. It's the adrenaline rush. It's a fun sport to be in, but it's also a dangerous sport. And if you love it so much that it's what you really, really want to do, you want to make a career of it, you try to look past the dangerous aspect of it and look at making a career out of it. Uh, that's like several bull riders have been killed doing what they love. Um, Lane Frost in 1989 loved riding bulls, loved traveling, but it killed him at the Cheyenne Frontier Days in 1989. That's why the bull riders wear those vests now, because back in the 80s they didn't wear those vests, and because of Lane's death, it caused PBR and any bull riding association to come up with those for a safety feature. But even with those, you can still get hurt and killed. I've seen documentaries on here. I've looked up on YouTube worst bull riding accidents or stories. I've seen a story of a a college bull rider did it for sport. Um, to go into the college national finals rodeo. He was in a practice pen and he got stepped on in the chest and was killed. There's a not long ago. what was his name? Uh, Mason Lowe. Um, no, not Mason Lowe, because he still rides. Was it Mason Lowe? Yeah. With Mason Lowe, I think it was. Professional bull rider, PBR. He was killed in Texas at an event. It was just a local event, not a paid, other than off-season event. He got stepped on and he was killed from his injuries. And he was from Missouri. 2 weeks later, his parents were at an event here in Joplin. LJ Jenkins bull riding tour in Joplin. They come here every year in January or February, I think it is. I was going to look at my ticket. We just there this year. I think it. Yeah, it before COVID, so I think. Yeah, I think it's October last year because they didn't do it this year. No, they did do it this year because just me and you went. Me, you, and Michelle went because you just got with Michelle. Um, but yeah, his parents were there a couple of years ago, and so any sport you do or any hobby you do really can be fun, but it can also be dangerous. Yeah, except for golf. Any athletic, any major athletic event, or even a outside of sport type of event like tornado chasing, can be a dangerous job. Firefighter, police, it can all be a dangerous job. But if you love it, you love it. If you love doing it, you're gonna put the danger factor behind you and just do your job. Our dad was our dad used to be a storm chaser. He don't do it anymore. Once in a while he does. Um, so that's kind of something I want to do. I like to do it, but I know the dangers of it, and I don't have the equipment to do it either. 'Cause you need a you need a radio, you need a camera, and you need to have a way to contact the National Weather Service of whatever state you're in. And we don't have that equipment, and it's cost a lot. I know they used to. Our local news station used to do a program where they would train new people to do storm spotting. They haven't done it in a couple of years though. Um, they would do it like in March or April, around March or April, or even June. They would announce it on TV. If you want to be a trained storm spotter, we're holding training and classes at this day, between this time and this time. If it's something you want to do, come and call this number and do it. But most of your storm spotters, they don't just do their local area; they go to other states. Um, a famous storm spotter I know used to be on the Storm Chasers program, the show Storm Chasers. Reed Timmer, he goes all over the country chasing storms. But you don't also, yeah, you don't just chase tornadic storms. You chase winter storms. I've seen Reed Timmer document and chase hurricane storms. I've seen him out there at the California fires. Whatever you seem interested in reporting on or chasing, um, So you wouldn't just chase thunderstorms. You would chase snowstorms, hurricanes, um, anything really. Yeah. There's a storm team we watch out of Oklahoma City that we actually follow on YouTube or Facebook and YouTube, um, known as Val and Caster. They're a news channel out of Oklahoma. They go live during storm season on Facebook. Uh, there's another one that there's a YouTube channel called Storm Chasers. They go live during storm season. Reed Timmer goes live on his YouTube channel. But there's, like I said, if you're interested in doing that, go do it. Whatever your dream job is, if you really want to pursue it, go for it. Um, yeah, if I could, I would, but I can't. Um, my first ever dream job was truck driver. I've always loved truck driving. I've always loved semi trucks, but because of our medicines and treatments and all that, I can't do that. Gotta be out on the road too much. Um, I'd be away from. I'd be too far from our hospital if something should happen. Um, Same thing with once I started growing up watching NASCAR. I've always wanted to be a NASCAR spotter. Again, that implies traveling and being away and too far from my local hospital and my primary hospital, and having to travel with the treatments and medicines and all that. So I can't do that. Um, I've always watched people stream on YouTube and stuff, so that's why I created this channel. I have a Twitch channel now. I stream on there once in a while. Uh, I just haven't streamed on here in several months because my camera quit working. Because my computer program was outdated. I had Windows 8 and I kept trying to update and it wouldn't update. And then earlier today, I got a notification that it's going to make me update, even though I tried to. So now I have Windows 8.1. I'm like, well, I got a new update. Let me get on and see if my camera works. Sure enough, it worked. So this is technically my second stream since it got the camera working. So I'm glad it works, though. I'm glad it works. There's a couple people I was hoping to get on but didn't. That's all right. I'll try again tomorrow or whatever. Or not tomorrow, but if I have enough data on my or enough room storage on my phone, Thursday night is our Christmas parade down here in Seneca. I'm going to try to record some of it or all of it if I have enough room on my phone to do that. I can't go live on my phone. I don't have Wi-Fi, and I don't have enough subscribers. Anybody sees this in the after this uploaded, if you're not subscribed to me, go and subscribe. Hit the notification bell and click on all, and every time I go live, you'll get a notification. Or when I upload something, you'll get a notification. Once I get 1,000 subscribers, I will be able to go live on my phone. Of course, I would have to have Wi-Fi too, though, because I don't have a phone that works away from Wi-Fi. But that's why I wanted to get my computer working, my camera on my computer working. That way I can go live on here. So It's almost midnight here, so I'm gonna be hopping off till I think we got some shows to watch. Brent and Josh, thanks for coming, watching. I ain't heard from you in a while, Josh. Nice to hear from you. Both of you stay safe out there, and whoever is watching but not chiming in, thanks for watching, and you stay safe out there as well. And if I get a chance to do something live tomorrow, I know we're gonna be doing some wood, moving wood around, but if I get a chance to go live tomorrow, I will go live. Probably just chatting again. I don't know yet. I might find something to do. I don't know yet. We'll see what tomorrow has in store. So, thanks for watching. Felt good to do a live stream again on here. It'll definitely be brighter because it'll be daytime. So you'll be able to see me better. I'm going to actually go back once it's uploaded and listen back, see if I can see how good the volume and quality is and the sound. Oh, hey, Deb, what's up? I'm fixing to get off. How you doing, Deb? Yeah, nice tree, I know. Just put it up a couple days ago. How you been? Ain't heard from you in a while. You staying healthy, staying safe. I haven't been streaming in over 3 months because my computer camera didn't work. But now it's working. I've been on for about almost 2 hours, hour 43 minutes. So since Deb hopped back off because it's on one person now. Let me go and end it here. Again, thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Comment if you want. And I'll see you tomorrow if I get a chance. If not, it'll be Thursday during the day. And look forward to the video of the parade and then video of driving to church Sunday. If I'm able to do those. I can't guarantee those 2 videos. I gotta see how much room and storage I have on my phone. I have to record those on the phone. But thanks for coming to this one and the one I had before. And both you, all 3 of you guys and everybody else, all the rest of my followers that watch this later, stay safe out there, guys. We'll talk to you later.